This is your girl Shay King, nutritionist and coach, and this is February, the love month. This is the time where we talk about eat like you love yourself. And good afternoon to Sandra Smith. She's already joining us live today, and Patricia Monroe. Good evening to you, darling. Thank you so much for joining us live today. I am excited about this show for a number of reasons. First, because my client will be joining us in a few minutes after I let you know what this live stream is all going to be about. And I can tell you all right now why she did. This is what she say. Shay, I'm nervous. Let me tell you something. She don't have a nervous bone in her body, one. And secondly is she is an example of those people that actually want to make a difference in her life and change it around for the better. So let me tell you something. If you are in a place where you're thinking about changing something that you want to do in your life, you definitely want to give me a call. And my number is 801-4885, because the thing is, most of us recognize, and as we get older, we do need hashtag support. So this is February. Got that out of the way, and we are talking about eat like you love yourself. And remember, if you are not following us now, please remember to follow us on Facebook at Shay King Eat Emotionally Well. This is where you get all your updates and where you get information on when we're going to stream again. And if you are here and new for the first time on YouTube, we want to say welcome. And don't forget to click that notification bell on this channel so you can get all of our future information and updates when we go live. We are going live 4 times in the month of February, and I'm excited about that. Yay! Because this month is all about eating like you love yourself. You know, my channel is Eat Emotionally Well, and the whole goal behind what I do is not only to get my clients to release their weight and be healthy, but also to keep the weight off. So with this challenge today, I want to send a shout out today who's already joining us on this challenge to eat like you love yourself in the month of February. And so we are taking 1 tea or tablespoon a day of the Mint Majesty Sea Moss Gel. And we're going to do that for the entire month of February. And so all of those persons that do that for the month of February, they're going to get a free Mint Majesty Sea Moss Gel. And in addition to that, they also will be put into the drawing to actually win an opportunity to do a complete whole body cleanse. We start March 8th. So I want to say a shout out to Sherelle for being a part of the February challenge. Also to Nalia, to Ursula, to Emma, to Zenobia, to Patrice, to Shanique. And there's a few of you also to Mario as well, and Santina, and Marie. I'm gonna get myself in trouble because I'm not remembering all of the names, but I really want to send a shout out to you just to let you know that you are doing what you need to do to prove that in the month of February, this is love month, that you are eating like you love yourself. So now, today's stream. Now, you're going to have the opportunity to ask questions. And today, we're going to talk specifically about how do I get rid of acid in my stomach? These are the questions. What are some of the symptoms I could experience? Also, how can I relieve acid reflux without medication? Will I be able to eat my favorite foods without that burning feeling? And also, why do I feel bloating in my stomach, or that bubbly type feeling after I eat, even when I eat healthy? Do I have to avoid certain foods forever? You know, I've come across persons that have not been my clients and say to me that, Shay, my doctor says I can't eat, I have to avoid certain foods. And what I find is particularly people talk about things like citrus. If you're in that category, let me know. Did your doctor tell you to avoid citrus because you are experiencing this feeling? So let me tell you, I can tell you there are a lot of things out there where people would talk about what their doctor says, things like don't move too fast or sleep on an incline so you don't feel that feeling that you're experiencing and you're not quite sure of that feeling. Now, there are a few lifestyle changes. I can promise you that is worth trying. We're going to talk about that today in this stream. And this is before you resort to prescribed drugs or even over the counter prescription or just over the counter drugs for controlling any of those gastrointestinal diseases like reflux, heartburn, indigestion, bloating, even that full feeling as well. Even you can go from one extreme, from even diarrhea to constipation. Now, while all of the people that may have any of those gastrointestinal diagnoses or disease may not have the same symptoms, sometimes people just have that feeling of feeling full. But the goal is that this feeling that you get in your stomach after eating, but you are not quite sure what it is, that's what we are talking about today. So joining me today is my client and guest. I'm so excited to have her here today because she's like you. She's gonna talk from a perspective of the layman's term and help you to understand and maybe even to connect some of those things that you probably didn't understand quite. So thank you so much for joining us, and I'm happy to have with us today Yvette. Hi, Yvette. Kudos to you, honey bunny.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome. And so the first thing I want to say is welcome to Eat Emotionally Well. And this is February, our love month, and we are challenging ourselves and all of my viewers and listeners that have subscribed to Shaking Eat Emotionally Well on Facebook or even here on YouTube to Eat Emotionally Well. Just kind of taking this month, we always talk about chocolate and flowers and all those other, wonderful things. But we never talk about how we can use the love month to love ourselves, not for the physical exterior, because we got that on lock. We know how to go and do the massages and get our hair done and buy the shirts and the tops. But more importantly, how to eat like we love ourselves. So that's what this stream is all about today. So I want to take a moment to say, when you called me several weeks ago, one of the first things you said was, Shay, listen, really, I really need to talk to you. I am experiencing some things. I'm not quite sure. I do know. I remember you saying, I do know I eat poorly. But, I know I need some help. And I need help now. And I remember saying to you, I'll call you, I'll make an appointment with you in just a few days. And one of the things you said to me is, call me quick before I change my mind. Does that sound like the introduction, a conversation that we had, Yvette?
Yes, it was. It was.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about why you felt the need to call. But before you say that, I want to preference it by saying Yvette does not fit in the category of what we would refer to as the percentage of us that are obese and considered unhealthy. Here in the Bahamas, we have a number of almost 80%. So that's like almost 8 persons. And you can't have a half a person. So technically, it's 8 out of 10 persons that is considered obese and unhealthy. But when you look at Yvette, through those normal eyes, she may not be the person that you would consider right away to be unhealthy and definitely not obese. What size do you wear, Yvette?
3.
Okay, there you go. So Yvette wears a 3. But so let's walk our viewing audience back to um, when the conversation started with you. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us. Cheryl is also joining us. Cheryl, we are about to talk to Yvette, our client that is joining us, about how she and I got connected, and she became my client because she doesn't fit the traditional mold of the 80% of Bahamians of being sick, obese and fat and unhealthy, in terms of the traditional mold. So Yvette, take us back to when you had the first conversation back with me when we first started.
Okay, so I've always considered myself at one point to be a healthy eater, but I realized that for the amount of times that I felt that I needed to eat, something had to have been wrong with that. That was the first thing. I would eat like now, and in 2 hours later, I'd be hungry. Mind you, I would have eaten something like I had an incident at work. I had just had lunch, and my coworker says to me, because there was a war going on, and my coworker said to me, "You need to eat some more food, eh?" And I was like, "No, I ate all of my food." He's like, "But your stomach making so much noise." And I was like, "Yeah, that's always the thing." So that was another thing for me. Like, why is it that I would just finish eating and my stomach would be having World War II, and shortly after I'm hungry again, and I'd go and eat something else in a short period of time, and that would go on for a long while. Something had to have
So,
been wrong with that. And like she
so
said,
Yvette,
I
stick a pin right there, Yvette, for me. Stick a pin right there. What Yvette is saying is the first thing she thought was she's eating. And during eating, just afterwards, she would hear that rumbling, tumbling feeling in her stomach. And her coworkers would say to her, are you hungry? And she would be like, no, I just finished eating. And then in addition to that, Yvette just said that, like, in a short while, even sometime in less than an hour, she would feel hungry again. So if any of y'all can even identify with the very first things Yvette is sharing with us, go ahead and put a comment in there and let Yvette know that, hey, I could identify with that. Go ahead, Yvette, continue for me.
Yes, so that was one of the things that I realized was wrong. Then
Mm-hmm.
I am a sweetaholic. Most
Ah.
persons that know me well, they know that I would eat sweets before I eat a meal. If I have the opportunity and we go out and there's a buffet, I will go to the buffet sweet section first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will have whatever it is to eat. Then I go back to the sweet section.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't have a set time of when I stop eating. If I get hungry at 2 o'clock in the morning, I will get up and I will eat whatever it is that I want to eat at 2 o'clock in the morning. But
Wow.
I'm also told that something is wrong with that. So I sort of got a little nudge from a cousin of mine that said, you probably need to have a little word with you. So I messaged her and she said, I'm going to call you. And I was like, yes, she's right. If you don't call me so, I'm going to change my mind. So here I am.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Yvette. I love that. Let me tell you what I love first of all about you being my client. You don't fit into the ordinary category of the average Bahamian that looks really sick. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. The first thing I said to Yvette is, because Yvette, you can look at her naturally. She's a beautiful girl. And one of the first things I said to her is, I said, but I'm going to comment on how you look through my eyes as a health professional. And Yvette always talks about how people that come into her office would either compliment her on her skin and say how young she is. Yvette and I are around the same age. And when you look at her, this is what I say, from the average eye of the Bahamian, Yvette looks considerably, I mean, not just considerably, I think she looks very well. But through a trained eye, I could have seen that there was some issues going on with Yvette, and I was able to start to talk to her about some of the things, and right away Yvette could kind of identify with it. So she said to me, Shay, listen, I love to eat. And so, for me, that was a beautiful challenge because you all know who've been following me, Shay loved to eat. So I said to her, after we had consulted and we talked about some of the things that she was interested in, she was talking about not wanting to not have eat certain foods. Yvette also said, Shay, I won't be able to eat dessert. And I'll tell you why she particularly mentioned dessert in a few minutes. But for Yvette, what was so important was she didn't want to necessarily like miss out on a lot of foods, but she also know that she needed to get help, and she trusted my professional opinion. And one thing I said to her is, we are going to do a transitional eating protocol. So once I said that to her, that made her feel a lot more comfortable. She was ready to start, and then the rest is history. So today, that's what we're going to talk about, this transitional protocol, eating protocol, particularly because I know we have persons out there, just like Yvette, and I told her, this is why for me it's important for us to share our stories to help one another, because we'd be surprised who out there is going through the exact same thing. And so Gigi is also joining us. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube today. Sherelle, I'm happy to have you here. I did send a shout out to you. I thank you for being a part of the February challenge to eat like you love yourself. This time is so important for us to share our story, because when we think about our stories, we don't think people have these issues, and they got these issues. So today I'm gonna take the whole chart of food and fruit combining and break this down in, I mean, minuscule pieces to help you to understand that there is a way that you can actually eat what I refer to as a transitional diet if you are having these issues like constipation we talked about, like diarrhea, if you have the influx, all of those gastrointestinal diagnoses, disease, or issues, and really change the way you feel. And in addition to that, actually get a flatter tummy in the process, you know? Now, I want Yvette to say this again. And the reason for this is because it's important for me to have you guys know that Yvette does not fit into the category. What size are you, Yvette? 3. Yvette is a size 3. And I can tell you all, just like it, when I saw Yvette arms the other day, I was like, man, I need them arms, man. She looks phenomenal. But Yvette is working on herself in a place from how she feels physically. And she had, the great fortitude to say, Shay, there's something wrong with this whole picture. So I'm really glad Yvette is joining us. And let me tell you this, particularly one of the things Yvette is going to be happy to share with you is, even in this process just beginning for Yvette, I'm going to tell you something that is very surprising about Yvette. What she does, what you call on the side. You know how us as workers, we also are entrepreneurs and we do our own little thing? Yvette does something surprisingly, and most of y'all may want her service. I promise y'all this. But Yvette has embarked on a huge goal to actually transform what she's doing now in a healthier way. And we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. But what we're going to use this opportunity now is to talk about what I refer to as food combining. So Yvette, Sherelle says she's glad to be here and to be tuning in. So Yvette, before we start, right, when I started to talk to you about food combining, tell me what was your thoughts when you first saw it and how you felt in the first couple of days. Let me get you unmuted, Yvette. Okay, we can hear you now. Unmute. Go ahead, Yvette.
Okay. It's been about a week now. My first day was kind of rough. I guess because I was already used to eating whatever I want to eat, however I wanted to eat it. But a particular person said to me that you can't eat all of the fruits that you want and eat all of the on one plate. So that was my first challenge. But as I made up my mind that I'm gonna work this, because I want to feel different. I don't want the war going on when I do eat something. It doesn't feel well and it doesn't sound good. And so I started trying my best to keep on track with that. And by day 3, when I would eat whatever it was, I didn't have the noise. So that was an encouragement to me. So
by day 3.
Now I am eating by day 3. Yes. Okay. So now I am actually seeing the need to continue. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I don't have it down packed by far, because I have to call Shay and say, Shay, I had, and she'd say, oh, no, you can't have pumpkin with chicken. And I'm like, but I looked at the chart and the chart said, and then she would explain to me all over again the process of food combination and how important it is. So yeah, it's been interesting. It is an interesting journey.
Yes, and so we're going to
It's a
use this
very interesting
opportunity
chart.
right now to break it down. Now, notice what Yvette said. Yvette said by the third day, she was encouraged, one, and she recognized she started to feel a lot different in her stomach by the third day. Let me tell you, this concept that I'm going to break down and explain to you is not a new concept. This is a concept that I myself have adopted about 18 years ago. Um, and I started to watch, and I also did a certification. Her name is Lou DeBell. Now, she is from, I would refer to as the old school, but this is one of the first set of certifications that I actually did way back then, 18 years ago. And it talks about the science behind uh, how you eat what you eat and how you combine it together and how it actually works for overall digestion. Let me tell you something. I could tell you one of the things when I started this journey, the humans would say things like, girl, listen to me. I just have gas. I just, when I eat, I bloat. And they always talk about indigestion and feel like their food isn't going down. And what I recognized, a couple of things was, y'all ever see the average Bahamian eat? Well, y'all seen them? They would gobble down their food so quickly. One, they don't chew
Yes.
their food properly, and you know the professional term is masticate their food. And people always tease me, but we have a problem with chewing our food. That's one. Secondly, is the minute we finish our food, in order for us to think that going on, we drink a bunch of water. So over the years, we actually perpetuate this. A lot of these gastrointestinal diagnoses and diseases that when we feel the symptoms, they feel like the diarrhea, the constipation, the acid reflux, bloating, and gas. We have actually caused this problem by the combinations of food that we eat and how we eat our food. So I'm going to break this down, and I'm excited about this because I am telling you these little, I'm not going to say simple, but little tweaks and changes, if you get it right, I promise you over a period of time, you will see the difference. And Yvette is saying in 3 days, she started to feel the difference. So I'm going to put a chart up. And when you see this chart, I'm going to break this chart down for you and talk to you a little bit more about this chart. And for those of you that are just joining us, we have another 30 minutes. I don't want you to go anywhere because after I break this chart down, Yvette is going to tell us some of the things that she does, and you're going to be excited about it because in addition to what she is doing, I put a challenge out there to Yvette to actually take what she's doing it and make it in a healthy way. And Yvette has agreed that we are going to stream live 2 weeks from today in her kitchen, and we're going to talk about, and she's actually not going to talk, she's going to show us the healthier versions for what it is she do. Because for those of you that don't know, Yvette is known around town for this thing that she does, and she has a stamp of A+ on it. So I want you guys to stay tuned for that. So I'm going to put up a banner right now to show you, first of all, what this actually looks like in terms of this chart. So the chart is up. Now, one of the first things I want to say is this chart is segmented, and it's segmented particularly because I needed to break this down for you guys to see it in a section. Now, when we look at the macronutrients, which is your carbohydrates, which is your protein, which is your fats, and of course, water. Those are the part of your macronutrients. Now, the science behind food combining, because we're answering the question today. We want to find out, Shay, why are we feeling the way we feel even when we eat healthy? We feel this rumbling and this tumbling in our stomach. Why all of this bubbliness? This is what we're talking about today on this stream. So, pardon me. So the first thing we want to look at is our proteins. But proteins actually come from a plant source, which you see to the top, and it actually comes from a flesh source. That's one. So Yvette, stay tuned there for me. You don't go anywhere, okay? Because I'm going to take you out the stream just for a second, but I'm going to bring you back in, okay, Yvette? Okay, so now when we look at the carbohydrates actually is greens as well as a vegetable source. So you can have carbohydrates from your greens as well as the vegetable source. So one of the first rules of thumb is this. When you're eating your food, and remember what we're talking about, ways to avoid the rumbling and the tumbling, the indigestion, the diarrhea, the constipation, the bloating of the stomach, making sure that your food digests. You want to avoid flesh protein with carbohydrates. And whether those carbohydrates is in a grain form like rice or a vegetable form like a sweet potato or a pumpkin. And Yvette could attest to this, because the combination of a flesh protein and a green carbohydrates or a vegetable carbohydrates like pumpkin or sweet potato does not combine together. And when you combine those foods together, this is where you have and start to create the problem of all of those diseases we talked about when we talk about having too much acid in the stomach, the indigestion, the reflux, all of, Bahamian vernacular, gas, burping, all of these complications. Now, when you look at that diagram that I'm showing you, guess what? You know what that simply means right away? We can't have chicken and rice. And you all say, Shay, we can't have chicken and rice. I know what you're thinking. I know. As a matter of fact, let me say this. When you think about chicken and rice, let me see your face. This is how I say it. When you think about chicken and rice, that's what we would traditionally eat. But the fact of the matter is, this is what caused us to get in the problems we are in today. So an alternative to that chicken and rice, Yvette can share it with you because I've shared it with her. And when you look further down on the column under carbohydrates, it says the exception to the rules. And the exceptions to the rules is seafood. That's the exception. The exception simply means that when you are eating carbohydrates from greens or vegetables, you can actually have them with seafood. However, seafood is the only flesh proteins you can have, your carbohydrate greens or your carbohydrate vegetables. So if you know anyone who needs this information, please share it. If you can identify with any of this stuff, make sure you hit us up in the chat and let us know. Now, when it comes to proteins, you see the arrow under the protein? You have a plant protein and you have a flesh protein. Now, if you actually want a plant protein like peas or beans, if you want to eat them with carbohydrates, you can, because it is a plant protein. You can eat with either a carbohydrates like green or carbohydrates like vegetable. Then that's absolutely a good combination. Now, when it comes to the protein that is flesh, you see the arrow on the curve? You can have flesh protein with vegetables. And we're talking about vegetables that are not starchy vegetables. So we're talking an idea of a vegetable that you can have flesh protein is with broccoli, cauliflower, tomatoes, even though tomatoes in the category of fruit, even the Bahamian or the Caribbean favorite, plantain or boiled banana. These are all okay to have with flesh protein. Additionally, another thing that you would want to do is when you're eating what we refer to as the proper food combination, you also want to add in organic leafy greens. Now, let me tell you why I'm specifically saying organic leafy greens. And I want to move the chart just a minute. Let me tell you why. Because when it comes to greens particularly, I'm going to also bring Yvette back in here. When it comes to greens in particularly, this is greens, organic leafy greens. Yvette, I just brought you back. We're going to go back to the chart in a minute. When it comes to organic leafy greens in particularly, because you have what they refer to as a dirty dozen list, and this list is the list of foods that the World Health Organization, a lot of health professionals, nutritionists, dietitians refer to as these are the foods that you should always eat organic. And spinach and kale and romaine lettuce is on this chart. Why? Because now, particularly greens, unfortunately, a lot of them are grown with pesticides and herbicides. So when you are following this food combining chart, so you start to feel better in your gut, your food is digesting better, and you want to add your flesh protein with vegetables, also include leafy greens. And let me tell you one of the main reasons why you want to include leafy greens, because it's going to help your flesh protein digest better. So Yvette, you following us so far?
Yeah.
So for those of you who are joining us, please share this live stream, because I'm sure someone needs this information, one, and this information is extremely valuable, because there are a lot of us today talk about some of the things that Yvette was talking about when it comes to feeling a certain way, when it comes to how their stomach is feeling, when it comes to feeling full. Are you one of those persons that no matter what it is that you eat or drink, you automatically get bloated? You know anyone like that? If you know anyone like that, put a comment in the section below. I can tell you, I've heard it all the time. People say, Shay, if I drink water, I get bloated. That's because your body is struggling to digest the food that you are eating. And let me tell you what's important to that. The body really can do what it's designed to do. But when you're eating a food like, let's say, when you're eating chicken, for instance, the average meat takes anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, in some cases 12 hours, to digest, to break down, and to do what it needs to do. So if you eat a food like grapes or a piece of melon on the side of your chicken salad, you literally just almost stop the digestion of that meat. So what you did by eating your chicken salad from a known place, I call no names on this stream, but okay, let me just say your apple pecan chicken salad, Yvette hiding her face. Your apple pecan chicken salad, you just ate a food that is not going to digest. You're gonna feel the rumbling and the tumbling Yvette talks about is, and if the food is not digesting, you're not getting the nutrients from the food. And so you have the rumbling and the tumbling, one, and then this is why in less than an hour ago you feel hungry, because even though you ate, your body was not able to extract any of the nutrients, the micronutrients from the food that you ate. So Yvette say, wow, she's doing the shake back. So you see how important it is for food combining. It's a science, but it does work. So even for you, Yvette talked earlier, she's a size 3. She isn't struggling with weight, but I promise you, if you are struggling with weight, and in Yvette's case, not weight, but indigestion and digestive issues, she knows that something is happening in the tummy. She doesn't know quite what it is. That's what this stream is all about. But I invited Yvette so she can help to connect that bridge to other people and share her own story, as well as you hear from me. And I can really break it down a little bit more for you and tell you why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So I want to continue with the chart to show you the other portion of adding in the leafy greens as well as 50-50. So when you look at the organic leafy greens, it's very important that you make organic leafy greens a part of eating flesh protein, because it's going to help the flesh protein digest quicker, one, and it's also going to give the body an opportunity to have the flesh protein move to the digestive system with soluble fiber as well as insoluble fiber. Now, when we talk about soluble and insoluble fiber, they work two ways in the body. The insoluble fiber acts as a way to bulk your bowels and to bulk the stool. Soluble fiber attaches itself to the food and helps it move through the digestive system more quickly. So a food like a flesh protein that actually takes anywhere from 8 and in some cases up to 12 hours, depending if that's steak or chicken, you always want to add leafy greens, and vegetable because it helps the food digest quicker, especially if you are a person that eat late at night. If y'all eat late at night, send me in the comment because I know some people there is eat late in the night. Now, if you look underneath the exception to the rule on the chart, you notice I have there eat 50-50. Now, 50-50 is a concept. I'm going to move the chart now. 50-50 is a concept that I subscribed to many, many years ago. It's actually my own concept, and I started talking about this many years ago. It's a concept where I call eat 50% of the food on your plate cooked and 50% on the food on your plate raw. And let me tell you again the reason for that. I found here in the Bahamas that we have so many Bahamians talk about gas. Listen to me. Gas is a household conversation. I mean, like if you go in America and you say, girl, we have gas, they'll be like, huh? What? You want some gas for your car? That's how serious it is. This doesn't even translate in a conversation to the average person that doesn't live in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Because when I say to people like, girl, I don't have tea first thing in the morning, you know what they say to me? Sure, you don't get gas when you have tea? So I'm going to hit you up with another piece of science that does work. Y'all ready for this? Bump, 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 bump. Listen, hot liquid. Cheryl say a few minutes ago. Ah. LOL, I ate that. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Cheryl, with us. Guess what? Hot tea does not stop you from having gas. I'm going to give you all a moment just to digest that. And we're back. Yeah, let me just tell you something. It's just the opposite. So I'm a tea drinker, and so is my family. But you know, most of the times when I drink my tea, it's nighttime. Why? Because I've already had all of the raw live food that I wanted for the day. I usually wind down with tea because here is something that you guys don't know. The body is a well. I'm not going to say that you don't know. I'm going to remind you because some of you may know. The body is a live, living thing, and if you want the food to digest, if you want the food to be extracted, when you break your fast with breakfast, and breakfast could be 10 a.m. or 12 noon, and Yvette knows this all too well because she is now eating her meal in a certain time of the day because I have narrowed Yvette eating time to 8 hours a day. So even before we continue, Yvette, tell us how you've been feeling with just eating your meal in an 8 hour window. Tell me how's that been working for you so far?
Um, Stomach wise, it's been good. It's been good.
Right.
Sleep wise, I think it's been a little better. I've had 2 nights where I got up hungry and wanting to get something to eat so badly, but I have to stick with this. But last night when I went to bed, I wasn't hungry. And I got up
Okay.
once during the night and I wasn't hungry.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can see what happened next week. But
I like how you say. And see, the thing is, if you can start to feel the difference already by not now, notice this with Yvette with her transitional eating plan. I didn't take out any foods in particular. What I did was I just taught her the science and I just said, this is how you're going to eat the foods that you like. One, we're going to narrow your window down to eating in a certain time. And she has 8 hours to eat. And the reason why we're doing this is because we are first getting Yvette's diagnoses to be gone, to eliminate. And once she starts to feel better, then we're going to start to open her window just a little bit more because Yvette does not have a weight problem. Sherelle says, I am guilty of eating late at night. And guess what? When you have indigestion, when you have reflux and heartburn, if you eat late at night, this is one of the things that your doctor will tell you when they're recommending things for you not to do. They'll say things like avoid eating late at night. Sit up when you eat. Try not to eat your food too fast. Listen, that there for Bahamians, listen.
I know what.
Oh, get you some food. And they also tell you don't even eat certain foods. But I am here to tell you that that theory is flawed. Because if you are eating your food according to the food combining chart that I subscribe to now for 18 years, your food will digest. The food, once you chew the food properly and assimilate it, it will digest. As long as you're not doing anything to inhibit digestion, you're going to go through the process and you're going to start to feel better right away without, in some cases, taking any kind of OTC or even prescribed drugs. So even if you're eating late and eating the right combinations of food, you'd find yourself eating and feeling better. And for those people, I don't know if any of you here on the stream that have ever been told by a health professional to avoid eating citrus. Like, don't eat grapefruit, don't eat lemon, because that's going to flare up your heart and all these things. I don't know if any of you there, but let me just say this. Lemon actually is an alkalining food. Now, let me say this. Lemon, it is an acid fruit. However, when lemon is ingested in the human body, it actually alkalines the body. So when they tell you things like, stay away from citrus food, let me tell you what I tell you. What I tell you is correct the issue, what is happening, through food combining, not eating and drinking at the same time, and give your body an opportunity to rest its digestive system by closing in your eating window and correcting some of the combinations of what you've been eating so long and wrong for so long. Then watch your body heal itself. Now, in some cases, you may need further help, not in all cases, where you may need to see a nutritionist or a dietitian, and even in some cases, even a doctor, because there may be damage because it's been so long. But what I can tell you is nutrition is one of those ways that you can actually help to reverse, and it's worth just a few lifestyle changes trying before you resort to prescribed drugs. This is one of the things I always say. And a part of that is just changing out how you eat, what you eat, and when you eat it. Another thing I want to share is, man, why we feel like we have to guzzle all that water down the second we put the last morsel of food in our Manivet, talk to me. Why are we doing that? Talk to me. Why are we doing that? Habit. Habit. Anyone else in the street want to share why they doing it? Why you say habit, Yvette? Are you guilty of that?
Usually throughout, during even. So
Wow.
yes, I am.
Right. Yeah, you are the person that would drink. So tell me what it would look like for you. You would eat and then drink right afterwards, or you would be sipping your water through your food. Tell me what it would look like for you, Yvette.
It would have been that I would have been eating and drinking the same time, not sipping.
Wow. I like how you said it would have been. You make sure take your time to let them know I ain't doing that no more, according to my nutrition coach. Wonderful. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you, when it comes to liquids, okay, I have some exceptions to the rules as well. But when it comes to liquid in particularly, if you are one of those persons experiencing the rumbling and the tumbling, if you're experiencing acid reflux, the gas, the bloating, indigestion, any of those gastrointestinal issues or diagnoses, when it comes to eating proper food combination, in addition to combining your food properly, here's it. You do not want to eat and drink at the same time, period. And that even includes water. I know. Even water. Why? Because it interferes with digestion. Yvette say, See, guess what? Our body naturally has somewhere between 32 to 34 enzymes naturally occurring in our body. But over the years of eating poorly, these enzymes get depleted. And so we depend on additional digestive enzymes, or we depend on these natural enzymes to come up to digest our food. And if we guzzle some water in between each bite of broccoli or steak, we depleting the enzymes which coming up to break the food down. So what do you think will happen? Ain't no fighting guys in there. So that food now got to struggle on its own just to get digested. Blessed lady, highly favored. I like that. She's joining us and she said she has a question. Hi, Shay. When I use citrus, it triggers off a migraine headache. Do you know the reason for that? I appreciate your question. So let me just say this, right? Because I don't have all of the details. One of the things I can speak to generally is this. Usually when you have food triggers, it can be a number of general things. First of all, sometimes people have allergies to a certain type of foods, right? But when you talk about a natural type of food like a citrus, it's either what is going on in the body already, and then your body is sending off a sign like a symptom, which is a headache, to tell you something is wrong. Symptoms are the way the body tells us. Listen, go to your doctor and tell your doctor what you're experiencing. That's why when you sit in your doctor or your nutritionist or your dietitian, your naturopathic doctor, they say, tell me what's going on with you. That's why they ask you that. And so what I've learned over the years as a health professional is that normally when you have a trigger from a natural food, it's a sign that something else is going on the inside. And when that food hits it, the body is sending off the symptoms like a migraine to say something is wrong. Let me tell you this quick story, blessed lady. One of my daughters, when she was a lot younger, and we were just at the very beginning of starting to think about changing the way we were eating, and we hadn't at that time changed it yet. She used to love cheese. She just thought that whatever she ate, cheese was a part of it. Like she would say grits and eggs and cheese. She would say chicken and cheese. It was like cheese was attached to every food. And so at this particular time, we just couldn't figure out. She would have these allergies and she would have this coughing and she would have migraines because she would say, Mommy, my head up here. And she was, I think, turning 3. She would say, my head up here feel like you hitting it. She never said the word migraine. But what we recognized, it took us about 6 months, to recognize that the body was sending off a sign because she always ate cheese because cheese is a complex dairy and protein food, and she was eating it with chicken. The body was having a difficult time digesting it, and unfortunately at that time, she had orange juice on the side of her plate. So we was causing a combustion, I want to say to my baby girl right now, if you're watching the stream, please forgive Mommy. I know we said it already, but we didn't know any better. So we were giving her orange juice with meat and cheese and all cooked. And so I can tell you this, when it comes to symptoms, that's just the way the body is saying, listen, we sending you a sign because you ain't paying attention, so we got to send you a little trigger. And even if you keep taking the over counter stuff, we can still send you the trigger because we recognize something is wrong. So thank you so much for that question. Hi, Dr. King, how are you? Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have 10 minutes left, and I want to say thank you to my client Yvette for joining us. Let me tell you something. I also want to say that not only Yvette joined the journey with us, and she hired me as her nutrition coach, she has also decided to take her journey a step further. She's already talked about starting to feel better even on her first 3 days. But now what I want to share with you guys is this. Outside of what Yvette does for her professional side of her work, Yvette actually is one of the well-known person here in the Bahamas. That's right. From making the best, phenomenal cheesecake. That's right. So I got to say this to you. One of the first things I said to Yvette is, girl, listen to me. Cheesecake is one of the things I gave up because a girl did love some cheesecake. So I said to Yvette, you ever thought about making cheesecake healthier? When Yvette started to share with me that all of the hundreds and thousands of people that she makes cheesecake for, all the different flavors, and she makes a baked cheesecake. She makes thank you too, blessed lady. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. She said she makes what do you call it? What's the other one that you make non-baked? What is it, Yvette? Cheesecake cup. Listen to me. I was like, Yvette, first of all, we got to figure out a way to make this cheesecake healthy, and not just make it healthy, but to show people that cheesecake can be healthier. Because I can tell you, I am a lot further on my journey as relates to eating healthy. And there are some things that shaking just ain't doing no more, because I know what it makes you feel like. But let me also tell you what I love about Yvette. Yvette said, you know what, Shay? I'm willing to try. So let me tell you what we can do in the next 2 weeks. We're going to stream live from Yvette Kitchen, and Yvette and I are going to make a healthy version of a cheesecake, and we are going to sample it live. So Yvette is going to do her 2 versions, the baked one and the cheesecake cup. Now y'all, I'm only saying it, right? But I can say this to you. I only talking what people talk, because I have not actually sampled Yvette cheesecake myself, because I'm like, child, I ain't eating them things with full of dyes, not shaking. So Yvette is going to embark on a cheesecake where she is going to use an organic dairy. She's not going to use any fruit that has preservative, dyes, and food coloring. She's not going to use any oils that is hydroxy oils. She is not going to use synthetics. You see her putting her hand over her head like this? I love Yvette. But Yvette said she's going to give me 2 weeks because we got to do some shopping. So Yvette has joined the journey about getting us to eat healthier and to actually to make a healthier version of this fruit cake. So Yvette, talk to us, honey. How we can do this? How we can do this, Yvette?
We'll try our best. We'll get it together, and we will try our best.
Yes.
Because
right.
If we are really looking at a healthy lifestyle,
right,
and making changes, for those of us like myself who love desserts,
yeah,
I mean, right now I've been craving this sugar and wanting something sweet so bad, but I won't. That would be a step backwards, okay? So it would be rather good if I can go into my kitchen and knock up a healthy version of a cheesecake that I love so much and not feel guilty.
So we're gonna stream live on the 25th. I think it is. Is it the 25th?
Either 25th or 27th. 2 weeks from 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
2 weeks from now. And Patricia Monroe said, sounds interesting. She's looking forward to it and she can't wait. Yvette, so tell us how long you have actually been making cheesecakes.
Over 15 years.
Wow. That's almost as old as me. So Yvette has been making cheesecake 15 years. And like I say, Yvette is well known here in Nassau. She makes cheesecakes for any occasions. But since she has started her journey, one of the things that Yvette is, hold on, you all see this? This looks like a hot flash to me. Anyway, that's another show. But that's another show. Yvette killing herself laughing. Girl, this sister is real. You know, Yvette, I don't know if you've known, but we've actually started a show called Menopause the Dialogue, where we stream on a Monday on YouTube, talking about all of the things that women and men experience with menopause and andropause. Any of y'all, if y'all don't know that, our Facebook page is Menopause the Dialogue, and our YouTube channel is Menopause the Dialogue. So please go over there and subscribe to the page. Patricia said, LOL Shay. Yeah, girl, it's a hot flash. And let me tell you why I talk about it openly, because a lot of people think that this is taboo, but I can tell you, women and men are going through it every single day, and lives are being changed because they don't think it's a real thing. And that's one of the reasons why we have this show. But Yvette, I want to thank you so much for joining us first. And then secondly, for taking me on as your nutrition coach. And then thirdly, that you are putting yourself out there to change the way that you introduce cheesecake to the Bahamas, because it's important for us to know that we can enjoy dessert. So I'm looking forward to us going shopping for all of these healthy ingredients. And then I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now for us streaming live right here on YouTube at Eat Emotionally Well, where you are going to make a healthy version of cheesecake for us, plus cheesecake in a cup. And this cheesecake is going to be with what I refer to as good organic dairy, no fruits with colors and artificial flavors and dyes, no high fructose corn syrup, no margarine, no white sugar. Listen to me. She can have her bell on. Gigi say, so interesting. So Gigi is also excited about joining us. Patricia, thank you for joining us. Also, blessed lady, highly favored, for joining us. Sherelle, thank you for joining us. Sandra, thank you for joining us. Gigi, thank you for joining us. And Yvette, thank you for joining us. I am excited and I can't wait. And then you're going to have the opportunity 2 weeks from now to talk a little bit more about how you're feeling and how your journey is going. Again, and again, because this is the Love Month, we stream right here again next week, Friday, live on YouTube as well as Facebook, the Pure Trim private group. So any of you guys share it. Patricia said, best of luck to you on your journey of health, Yvette. Best of luck to you. Thank you again so much for joining us. This has been a wonderful 1 hour, Yvette. And see, you was talking about being nervous. You see how you was flowing? You was even flowing through my heart flash and all. And Yvette, I want to say to you, thank you for taking the journey, because sometimes, we often think we tie in health to being obese. And you are that person, not because you're obese, you recognize still that something here in my stomach is not right. I'm not feeling a certain way. And some of the other issues that you and I talked about privately, that you're looking forward to feeling better overall with this journey of just starting with transitioning eating. So thank you guys for joining me. Again, this is the Love Month. We are talking about the February challenge to first, just take 1 tablespoon of mint sea moss gel every day and post it on my page, Shaking Eat Emotionally Well. And you'd have the opportunity to be a part of our 21-day cleanse. We start that on March 8th. And this is a 21-day long cleansing where we are on a journey of detoxing the whole body. And in addition to that, we will continue in this month to stream next week, Friday from 6 to 7. And the following Friday, Yvette will be joining us. We will be live in her kitchen where we are going to be eating cheesecake. I'm excited. I'm excited. Y'all know I love food, right? And listen, Yvette is my girl because she likes food just as much as I. And let me tell you what else we have in common. How about Yvette say, Shay, when it comes to food, I will eat my dessert first. But what Yvette didn't know at that time is my family, my entire family, one of the traditions in the King family house was whenever we went out to eat, we ate dessert first because we wanted to make sure we got in our dessert. Plus, once I had learned and understood food combining, I also recognized it actually makes sense to eat your dessert first because it takes a quicker time to digest and then turn around and eat your meal according to food digestion. So Yvette say, wow, if you learn anything, say, woo, woo. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you again next week, the same time. This is February, where we eat like we love ourselves. And Yvette, thank you for joining us. See you again soon. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone. Chi-Chi, so good to see you, honey. Thank you, guys. See you again next week.